Hello. Hello and welcome back to another stream. Um I can't hear the music. All right. Trying to figure some things out in my head. Okay. Welcome to the stream. It's been a week since the last time I streamed because I had some stuff going on in the middle of last week on Wednesday. So the rest of the week just kind of didn't work. But we had some very exciting things. We had some very exciting things happen while like in between that on Saturday 2 days ago, we had some very big things happening, guys. Very big things. I can't hear the music. Music might be a little too quiet. Okay, we'll try that. Okay, let's go ahead. Hi, Katie. How are you doing? How's it going? I'm just going to switch to that. Music sounds good now. Okay, cool. Good. So we had some fun stuff happen, guys. And Katie, you know the fun stuff that happened. Me going animatic work is slow. Oh no. I saw you know that I saw Martin retweet your animatic frame, so that's fun. Fun stuff. Oh yeah. Big fun exciting things happened on Saturday. Multiple big things happened on Saturday. We had Hermitcraft Season 10. And we also had the final chapter of Your Light in My Eyes and chapter 19 of Your Embers at My Fingertips. So there was a lot of fun stuff happening this weekend. I may have binged several Hermitcraft episodes. And Nightbot is now just deciding to post everything. That's okay. So today, one thing that I want to do, so obviously we've got this one shot that I started writing last Monday and then wasn't able to finish. And then haven't been able to finish the rest of the week because I had stuff happening. But so we've got this that we're going to kind of be working on today in like slower moments. We're just going to be trying to like fiddling with it a little bit. But my main thing that I wanted to do today is have the opportunity to talk about the final chapter of Your Light in My Eyes and how it transitioned into Your Embers at My Fingertips. Obviously, Katie and I are going to go more in detail about all of that when we have the wrap-up stream, which we're starting to plan out tomorrow, theoretically. We're getting on a call to start planning that stream out, so that's fun. Excited for this chaos. Yeah, it's gonna be great. This one shot is the words, the brain words, what happened in Double Life after Pearl and the boys woke up. So when there's 5 out and that means that there's an odd number, that's kind of this. We ended up doing it in sections. So like the first section is right after, as you can see, right after Jimmy and Tango disconnect. And then we've almost immediately got Martin disconnecting too. And then further down here, we've got Grian disconnecting. And then we've got Cleo and Scar realizing that they're soulmates. And that's kind of like that section. And then we start the second section with Pearl disconnecting. And we only got a little bit into that before I had to stop. But so yeah, we're going to kind of be working on that a little bit. But I want to talk about, and I didn't plan out what I was going to say for this at all. So it's just going to be a bunch of random babbling. The wrap-up stream will be much more organized. But I just kind of want to talk about how all of that, like, how the transition happened. And I want to just, like, be able to chat about, you know, what kind of, like, kind of the implications of, like, some of the stuff that happened at the end of, Your Light in My Eyes, obviously. If Katie tells me to shut up about something, then I will shut up about something. I don't know. I just kind of wanted the chance to babble about it a little bit, you know? I figured this would be fun. I have no idea how long I'm going to be able to stream today, though, because yesterday I sat at my desk for, like, 3 hours, like 3 or 4 hours, to write a chapter of my other thing. And then I had to stand for a while, and I did laundry, so there was a lot of bending over, but so I'm kind of tired. But we're gonna talk a little bit. It's gonna be fun. I think the first thing that we should do is read through what we've already written for this one shot to kind of like get in the mindset for that, so that so we all kind of know what happened for people who weren't here last week, and then, for the people who were here last week, I'm sure we've all forgotten. So we're gonna read through the couple pages that we've written so far. I have read through this already today, but we're gonna do it again just to have it in our minds. Okay. Solidarity Gaming was slain by an Enderman. Tango died. Solidarity Gaming disconnected. Tango disconnected. Scar blinks, staring blankly at the thin black communicator resting in his hand. Disconnected? What does that mean? There have been plenty of messages in the chat during whatever this is, but that's definitely not one that's ever appeared before. In the little wood disconnected. Now Martin's disconnecting? Scar stands up from where he'd been crouched in front of the snot-nosed panda in his sanctuary. What is happening? Maybe Grian knows. He seems to have a bunch of information that no one else holds, whether he'd willingly admit it or not. Scar is certain he could get some knowledge out of Grian if he presses enough. Grian? Scar calls around the corner of the mangrove root entryway. When no answer reaches him, Scar pushes open the gate and begins making his way into the red velvet keep. Grian, are you here? A ding from Scar's communicator draws his attention back to the thin screen. A pit drops in his stomach. Grian disconnected. What? Scar gasps under his breath. Scar's soulmate disconnected. Does that mean Grian's gone? Is he not in the world anymore? Does this have anything to do with where Grian goes when he disappears off the face of the earth? No, it can't be. Scar would have surely seen that notification before if that was the case. Scar! A distant voice shouts from further along the ravine's edge. Ow! At the same moment Cleo exclaims, Scar jolts with a sudden burst of pain in his left shoulder. When she rounds the corner and reaches his view, Scar sees an arrow jutting through her skin right where he hurts. He freezes, his jaw dropping open. Cleo? Scar responds. Cleo rushes over to him and punches him lightly in the arm, just enough to cause an uncomfortable pressure, but not enough to actually harm him. Scar jumps back a bit and gasps, rubbing at the offended area. What was that for? Scar exclaims. Cleo chews on their lip. Scar, I think we're soulmates. Scar's eyebrows fly high into his bangs. What? But Grian's my soulmate, and Martin's yours. We've known that for weeks. Yeah, and they're both gone. I literally watched Martin vanish right in front of my eyes. Cleo scoffs. And we both saw the message that Grian's gone too. I have no idea what this means, Scar, but right now we need to figure out what to do about being soulmates. Pearlescent Moon disconnected. It's been several days since Jimmy, Tango, Martin, and Grian disappeared. Cleo and Scar have been soulbound the entire time, which may not have been the best thing for the rest of the server. Let's just say several structures have now been reduced to ashes, sending Etho and Joel into the ship burns, everything burns arc. Ever since those four vanished, things have been different. Pearl has been trying to gather all the other players together in search of an escape from the border, but no one has been able to figure anything out. Impulse and Etho dug down to the bottom of the world, but only managed to find bedrock, as was expected. Bigby discovered that the dome coats the top of the world too, making it impossible to escape from the sky. Etho's previous run through the border with a minecart no longer works, nor does the boat method, which was his second try. Hope is running dry all around. And then Pearl disconnects. After 4 days of radio silence from anything outside of wherever they are, she vanishes in a puff of white smoke right in front of Scar, Impulse, Beat-Up, Scott, and Cleo. After that, the world changes. Where'd she go? Beat-Ups questions, swinging his head on a swivel in search of their red-cloaked friend. She's gone, Cleo says slowly, looking up from their communicator. Ow! Impulse exclaims. Beat-Ups, you good? He asks, rubbing his calf. Beat-Ups furrows his brows and turns to look at Impulse. I'm fine. Are you okay? Impulse slowly straightens and glances down at Beat-Up's leg. The rest of them do too, but there's no injury on his dark skin. What is happening? Impulse asks hesitantly. A series of dings draws their attention back to the chat. Etho. Did anyone take damage just now? Smallish Beans. I got hurt and Etho didn't. Impulse SV. I did. Rendog. What? How did Etho not take damage? Smager. Pearl disconnected. Okay, so that's what we got done last week. We're kind of like in the middle of a chat messaging thing going on here. I don't exactly remember what my thought was for the continuation of this conversation. It's basically just kind of to show that the soulmate connection is like bouncing all over the place. So now we've got Etho, Impulse, and Joel soulbound, and they'll be soulbound for the next, like, I don't know, hour maybe. But that means that several of the others are now just randomly soulbound, so we need to kind of display that a little bit. Yeah. One disadvantage for having written this a week ago and not finished it is I don't exactly remember what my thought process was for the rest of this fic. So we'll just, we'll figure it out as we go. But one thing I wanted to talk about with Chapter 16 going into Chapter 16 of Your Light going into Chapter 19 is of Your Embers at My Fingertips is that Katie actually took a paragraph from Your Embers at My Fingertips as the final paragraph of Your Light in My Eyes. And I don't know if anyone noticed that yet, because I haven't gotten any comments on it. I don't think Katie has either. But I thought that was fun. I didn't even notice it. Yeah, Katie had permission. But I read it without realizing. Like, I read that chapter. The first time I wrote it, I read it without realizing that she had done that. And so I was reading the last paragraph, and I was like, this sounds like me. This sounds like something that I wrote, and I don't remember if I did. But yeah, Katie had permission. It was totally fine. Oh, jeez. I can't wait until I have a different desk, because this one has like a bunch of parts like kind of jutting out of the bottom, and I don't really like it. But there's nothing I can do about it yet, because I haven't moved. But I feel like that's a good transition point, because the end of her section leads perfectly into like the middle of mine, like the back middle of mine, where you know, I guess like it's the end of Your Light, but in the middle of YEAMF, so peeps could easily have forgotten it. But oh yeah, fair enough. That's true. I love that we don't need an acronym for Your Light, but we need one for Your Embers at my fingertips. So we're just like YEAMF. Everyone else went to a hermit, but Hawkwing is live. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for coming to my stream. There are reasons. There are reasons. And the reasons will be revealed in like a month on the wrap-up stream. But the reasons are secret for now. Well, welcome, Marty. I hope your day is going well. How are you doing? We're finishing the one-shot from last week, but we're also talking about the final chapter of Your Light and leading into chapter 19 of Your Embers at My Fingertips. That's kind of the plan. So there may not be a whole bunch of writing actually done today, but it'll be fun either way. But yeah, I really liked the transition for Your Light and how it led into Your Embers at My Fingertips. Like, I like that you kind of got to see, because the thing is, I wrote chapter 19 long before Katie wrote the end of her story. Like, long before. Like, I think she finished hers in December, and obviously mine was completely done in September. So I had fully written chapter 19, and Katie had the idea of like, I'm gonna write limited life for this fic, and I was like, cool. And so I hadn't even envisioned like what led up to Jimmy bursting through the door, right? Like, I had no idea what Tango was up to at that point. Like, I knew that he had been, I assumed he had been fighting the Watchers. I almost said something else, Katie. He had been fighting the Watchers because he was, like, collapsed on the ground and they were dragging him back to the pod. Hawk said they weren't going to do it, so I was like, hold my tea. Exactly. I told Katie, I was like, I don't want to write that section. I had no interest in it. And then Katie was like, I'll do it. And I was like, awesome. And she was like, it'll be your Christmas present. I was like, even more awesome. So when she was writing, like when she was finishing chapter 16 of her fic and I read it, I was like, oh my gosh, now I know what happened. Like, now I have that full picture. It was so good. And it was the same thing with when Jimmy was like meditating to try to find Tango. When I wrote that moment, Katie was already writing Your Light, I think, or like the concept was there. So I didn't want to step on her toes with that. So we had decided, like, okay, I'm not going to write the conversation. I'm just going to write the flashback, because Tango's soul, like, Tango doesn't get there until the end of the flashback. So I'll write the flashback, I'll take care of that, and then Katie will take everything after that, and I'll go into how Jimmy finds Tango. So I had no idea what that conversation was going to be when I wrote that chapter. Many backs and forths were had to be coordinated for those scenes. Yeah. 100%. Like, we talked a lot about how all of that was going to fit together. But what was so fun for me is that when I was reading Your Light, like, obviously I had way more information than you guys had when you were first reading it, because she and I had talked about it constantly. Like, that was like 90% of what we talked about. It was 90% fan fiction and 10% shadow pictures. That was all we talked about for like months. And so when I was reading these chapters as she was finishing them, because at the beginning I was editing them too, and then I got sick, and so I haven't been, like, the last like 10 chapters probably I didn't actually get to edit. Can confirm that was our combos. Yeah. So I still got like, it was all new for me, especially at the end when like we had those two scenes where they were having the conversation about like, you know, how to open the Avatar state, how Jimmy died, Jimmy isn't dead, you know, like all of that. And then the fight scene that Tango has with the Watchers, that was all new to me because, yeah, we had kind of talked about it, but I still didn't know what that was going to look like. And so it was a lot of fun for me to also get to experience that. And it was so much fun the last couple weeks getting to reread those chapters every day because it's been a while since like I actually read the entire story. So that was a lot of fun for me. And then posting chapter 19, it just leads so perfectly together. And their story is, you know, your story's almost over. That's crazy, guys. I can't believe that that we've only got 2 weeks. We've got 2 weeks, guys. That's insane. This has been my, like, we've been posting this chapter, like this story, chapter by chapter, every week since September. And it's February. That's crazy. This has been like one of the biggest aspects of my life for so long, and we're about to say goodbye to it. I'm gonna cry on the wrap-up stream. Like, genuinely, I think I might shed tears. There's gonna be a lot of laughs, but it's gonna be very emotional, too. Especially with Your Light being over now, it's like, wow, the main... Like, they're out of the compound. But with goodbyes come many hellos. This is true. This is true. I do have something that I'm working on. And I'm very excited to be able to share some of it with you guys on that wrap-up stream. I won't say more than that, but you'll get a little taste of the project I've been working on the last few months on that stream. So you'll want to watch that. And if you can't watch it, beware of spoilers for final chapters. Yeah. I'm prepared. I know what not to spoil. With the wrap-up stream, I'm planning on recording it as well and posting it to my YouTube. And I think Katie probably will too, right? I'm assuming, since you've been doing that with your streams. So, and honestly, what I'll probably do is, you know, now you're going to experience what it's like for an author to completely finish their works. Yeah. Yep, VOD channel. Okay, awesome. So, yeah, Katie's perspective, I mean, it'll be the same perspective, but Katie's perspective and my perspective of that stream will both be posted to YouTube. So if you miss that stream, you can watch it because it's probably gonna be longer than I usually stream, because I tend to keep my streams to about 2 hours, and that's something you and I will talk about tomorrow, Katie, is how to manage that. But I tend to keep my streams to 2 hours for my health, but I want that stream to be longer. You can just export it directly from Twitch. Oh, that's nice. Okay, cool. We can talk about that tomorrow too, because I don't know how to do that. Yeah, we talk. That stream's gonna be longer than I usually stream, and I'm going based off of how long my connected book stream was last year. That was only a year ago. Oh my gosh. Because that stream was like 4 hours. I'm not saying it's gonna be 4 hours, but that's how long that was. So that's like in my head. So it's at least gonna be longer than 2 hours probably. But it'll be fun. No matter what the length is, it'll be fun. And we'll talk about a bunch of stuff. And you'll get some like insider information about what went into writing it, and the ideas behind it. And questions will be answered. And laughs will be shared, and I will cry. I have a lot of thoughts. I don't want to spoil everything, which is why I'm just talking about the most recent posted chapters today. Like, I'm not going to go into stuff that happened before. But yeah, a lot happened. Like, both of the chapters that were posted on Saturday were extremely long in comparison to the other chapters that were posted. And for Katie, that's because 2 chapters were shoved together. But for me, it's because there wasn't a moment to cut it. Like, there wasn't a good moment in that chapter to end a chapter and then start another one. It didn't make sense to separate. So it's like 5,000 words, relatively. I think it might be a little longer than that. I'm not entirely sure. But it's much longer than any other chapter that's been posted so far. And that's because I didn't want to stop the momentum. Because ending it after, like, they started, like, there just wasn't a good spot. But I'm happy with that one being longer, because you have the momentum going the entire time. And there's so much happening. One thing that I really liked about the last couple chapters was giving Grian the opportunity to kind of, like, show that he's not with the Watchers anymore. That was the reason that I chose for him to not be in Limited Life. Because originally I was like, okay, there are some characters that just haven't had any moments yet, and so I want them to be part of it. And obviously Grian has had moments, like, but only in the context of he's working with the Watchers. So I wanted him to have the opportunity to fight with Jimmy instead of against him. And then Ren was there because we haven't had any moments with him. And so he got to be, like, an amazing fighter and take people down. And it was the same with Joel. It's like Joel hasn't had a moment, and Joel and Jimmy are supposed to be friends outside of this. So I want to show their friendship a little bit more, and so we got to have the 4 of them. And then honestly, it just worked out that the bad boys weren't in Limited Life. We got the good guys instead, which happened when Katie and I were both extremely tired. What do we call Mumbo and Lizzie? Good guys. That's amazing. It's literally how the conversation went. There was one comment that I saw. There's a lot of comments on Katie's final chapter that, yeah, but most of the comments on chapter 19, I think, were people coming from Katie's chapter, which is good because I wanted people to read yours first. People came to mine and were literally just like, "Oh, they escaped." That's all it was, and I was like, "Yes, that's the reaction that I wanted." Let's freak out about the fact that everybody's gotten out of the compound. But it's not over. It's not over. We got 2 chapters left. I'm so happy with how much everybody has loved this story, because it helped me a lot. I do have a problem, and I don't know if this happens with every writer or if it's just me, but when I first finished Your Embers at My Fingertips, I was in love with it, and I thought the writing was amazing, and I thought it was great. And then as I got further away from it and kept writing other things, I started disliking the way I wrote it so much more. You love the dynamic of Joel knowing Jimmy really well, but still not being the kind of person that is very good at emotions in a crisis, but knowing that Tango could help and trying his best for Jimmy in Tango's absence. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I didn't feel like having Joel be like very great with emotions made sense, even with knowing Jimmy really well. And Ren doesn't know Jimmy well enough because they've never been allies. I honestly, I wish I had been able to do more with like building relationships. But it's kind of hard in this situation to write like characters building relationships, you know? Except for Tango and Jimmy. Although their relationship kind of went from 0 to 100 really quick. It's just like, we don't know each other at all, and now we're best friends. Dude, there's so many characters. I know! There's 17 of them. There's 17. Having that many characters is so tricky. And in retrospect, I kind of wish that I had managed to do a flashback for every character. Limited life was a pain in that regard. Yeah. Oh, I feel your pain, Katie. You know why. You know why. I have 2 reasons. 2 reasons that's a pain. Having like that many characters to just have to like manage and try to like, because the thing is, there's 17 of them, right? You know you're not gonna have a moment for all of them. Or it's very hard to have a moment for all of them, especially in a story that's not gonna be as long. But like, you don't want them to be flat. So you need to have something. Like, it's hard it's hard for them not to just exist, but it's also hard in a storytelling and character building and world building aspect to have them not interact with your main character. You know what I mean? At least for me, it feels like I need to have a moment for all of them, and that's so hard to figure out, especially because sometimes you just forget some of them exist. It's like you have your main character and you have your main background characters, and that's like the circle that you exist in when you're writing the story. But then you're also like, there are like 15 other characters in this story that I have to make sure that I do something with. And in retrospect, like, one of the reasons I'm doing this, and I'm trying to do a one shot for, like, I'm trying not to repeat characters for one shots. Forget they exist. Yeah, that was you for Pearl, Bigby, and Scar. Yeah, I feel so bad. I forgot Bigby existed. Constantly. I feel like I did all right remembering that most of them existed, but I feel bad because Bigby is the person I watch the least. Like, he's always like one of the final people that I watch for, like, you know, life series perspectives, not because I don't like him, but because out of all of them, like, the people that only post content for the life series, like, you know, the content that I watch, because I know he has a main channel, but I don't watch the stuff that he posts there. When that's all they post, then in between the seasons, I forget they exist. And so when they start posting, it's like, I care more about the people that I watch consistently, or like more often. But I forgot Bigby existed so many times. That's why I had him as like the airbending instructor, because I was like, if I do this, then he has a section, and I don't have to feel bad that I. Also, there was only 2 airbenders, and I didn't want Grian to be the airbending instructor because, you know, he was a watcher. They didn't know that he was a watcher at that moment, but they were like, "There's something off about that." But yeah, managing 17 characters is really tricky. I know you didn't have. Dude, that's perfectly worried. I totally get you with not being as attached to Bigby. Yeah, it's not like it's genuinely not anything about him because he's awesome. It's the same for you. Yeah, I think he's a great creator. Like, his videos are fun. I enjoy watching his perspective. But because he doesn't post anything outside of that, it's just really difficult to get into his perspective sometimes. But yeah. Oh, speaking of people that don't post videos consistently, guys, can we talk about how Skiz is in Hermitcraft? Can we talk about that? I wasn't allowed to talk to Katie about it for like 24 hours. Because I didn't want to spoil it for her, because I accidentally spoiled Joel. Skiz, I know, I was so happy when I saw his tweet. I had to call Oma because I was like freaking out. Because I have a hard time containing my emotions. That made your day? Yeah, same. Hi T-dubs. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to the stream. You're still on your way home, but you could not wait any longer, so your internet might get lost sometimes. That's okay, Nini. Welcome to the stream. I hope you're doing I hope your day is going well. You jump scared Zima so Skiz in Hermitcraft is awesome. It is. I'm so excited for him. Dude deserves it so much. Bigby has separate channels besides for my... I know, I actually looked at his main channel. His content is just stuff that I don't tend to enjoy, so I don't watch it. You almost fell out of your chair when you heard you were eating dinner. I was just scrolling through Twitter on the couch, and I saw that tweet, and I read it, and I was like, oh my god. And I like spent 5 minutes freaking out to Shadow. I was like, Shadow, you don't understand how exciting this is. It's amazing. And then like I couldn't contain it anymore, so I had to call Oma, and I was like, Oma, I gotta freak out for like 10 minutes. And so I spent the next 10 minutes freaking out about Skizby and Hermitcraft. My Oma gets a lot of calls because we don't live together anymore. My Oma gets a lot of random calls at random times in the day where I'm like, Oma, I'm going to talk about something for half an hour. And she goes, cool. Valid reaction. You'd say, I think it is. I think it's perfectly valid. Because he was on my list of like potential people, but I was like, he has a full-time job. Can you just point out how happy it made you feel when you saw all the hermits happy, and especially the lifers? And your head was just, look, they are free and enjoying their life just because of you two. Aw. Yeah, I'm loving the beginning of Hermitcraft season 10. It's great. It's a little, the Demise game is a little strange now that the life series has been going on for 3 years. It's just, it's a little weird because like I've noticed like the lifers talking about it in such a way, like red name and that kind of thing, but I'm loving it. Season 10 is off to a fantastic start. It's so good. It's so good. I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm so happy. I watched Joel's perspective and then Skiz's perspective as like the first two that I watched, because I was like, they both uploaded before I was watching, so why not? And when you saw Skiz and Impulse walk around together, I had to think about how Skiz was on 3 Minutes in Limited Life and Impulse had to get him, so I cried. I literally cried seeing that. Oh my gosh. You like Demise as a game, but you don't like the inclusion of the Red Lives minor detail, but it feels out of place. Yeah, I get that, 100%. But to be fair, like, Demise inspired the Life series, and then the Life series inspired Demise 2, so I understand why Green did it that way. Yeah, I love the thought of, like, like, connecting Hermitcraft with the fanfiction. Katie's not sorry. Katie's lying to you, Nini. That's a lie. I'm not sorry either. I've been waiting for chapter 19 to be posted for so long. Like chapter 17 was the first one that I was looking forward to, because chapter 17 was the one where they all got captured, and so I was like, oh yeah, definitely want to post that one because that's gonna freak people out, and that's my mission in life. Thanks for making you an emotional wreck, you guys. You're welcome. And then chapter 19 was the second one, because it was like the big, like, climax of the story was like breaking everybody out of Limited Life and then escaping. You saw a headcanon that I have to watch. You have to watch Scar with the thought that Hermitcraft is just a fever dream for him, and he's still, oh no! Ah! I hate that. What happens next, you need to know. You did not expect they get out already, so you're curious. Well, there's 2 chapters left, and I will not spoil what happens in those 2 chapters. You'll just have to wait until Saturday. But yeah, today we've been talking. Oh gosh, I'm stuffed up. It rained yesterday, so I'm having a little bit of allergies. We're talking about the end of Your Light and chapter 19. So anybody who's here, if you have questions about those 2 chapters, feel free to ask them, because I'd love to talk about it. But at this point, we're just babbling. I was like, yeah, we're gonna write a little bit. I don't think we're gonna write today. We're just gonna sit here with this conversation on the screen. I had so much fun with this story. Like, I know it's not over, but it's like one part of it is like we've got 2 chapters left, but they're out of the compound, right? So like, no matter what happens next, that section has kind of come to a close a little bit, I guess. So if you know, it's like we had one section end with like, you love how smooth the end of Your Light with it. Yeah, that was one thing that we talked about, was how, I don't know if anybody noticed, but Katie took a chapter from the middle of Your Embers at My Fingertips and put it as the last paragraph of Your Light in My Eyes, of that final chapter. Obviously with my permission, but it just made it transition so smoothly. Like, we had like Tango thrashing, and then like there's a paragraph. Actually, you took a paragraph. That's what I meant. Let me actually, I might just go ahead, and I want to see if I can. I want to read that. Words would be nice, but I'm also focusing on something. So like the final the final paragraph, Jimmy kicks his foot down in front of him and raises his hands. Earth flies from the ground and latches onto one of the hands of the watchers. One of the hands of the watcher holding Tango's right arm, pulling it and locking it to the floor. Then he leaps forward and whirls around, kicking a blast of air at the one on the left, knocking them into the back wall with a thud. Tango pulls himself to his feet and falls into Jimmy's arms. So I didn't know the first time I read that. I didn't know that Katie had done that, and I was like, that doesn't sound like Katie's writing. That sounds like me. But obviously, she had my permission to use it. We talked about it after I read that chapter, and it was totally fine. But it just transitioned so nicely. It was so much fun. Like, Your Light was such a fun addition to Your Embers at My Fingertips, because if Katie hadn't written that, we may never have, like, had a... We probably never would have had a canon addition to what happened while they were in that test. And when Jimmy and Tango talked in the Avatar state. Yeah, so what was fun, I talked about this earlier, but I'll happily talk about it again. But what was fun about that is I wrote chapter 19 literally like 4 months or so, like 4 or 5 months before Katie wrote the final chapter, like wrote that conversation that they had in the Avatar state. So when I wrote chapter 19, I had no idea what they talked about, because Katie was like, I'm going to write this. And I was like, cool, then I won't write that conversation and you can have that. And I'll just leave that to you because it makes more fun. It makes more sense for your story. It was great having that paragraph with the thought that that's what Tango sees. As in, for the past 2 months, he's been the only one to bend elements, and partly wondering if he'll ever see Jimmy again. Oh, yeah. Oh, that is fun. Tango's been the Avatar by himself for 2 months, and all of a sudden he sees Jimmy bending multiple elements. Yeah, that is fun. I like that. But yeah, there's several things about Your Light that, like, when I was writing chapter 19, I didn't know because it hadn't been written. So that was fun for me, getting to see all of that. This was such a fun project. Like, Your Light was... I'm incredibly thankful to Katie for deciding to spend her creative energies on something for my universe. You know what I love? I love how at the same time I was making my Double Life Avatar The Last Airbender AU, Katie was like, yeah, I'm gonna make one too. And then she ended up diving headfirst into mine. I was like, I didn't. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. She chose that. That was on her. How dare you? Don't blame me for that. That was entirely your choice. I have loved getting to share. You so forgot about your own. Yeah, you did a poster for it and then you forgot it existed. It was so good. I love how you did the Your Light in My Eyes poster while while we were on a call, like 2 hours before we posted the first chapter. I love that so much. Like, Katie texted me when it was like near midnight for her, the night before, like Friday night. And then and then she was like, Hawk, I think I want to do a poster for Your Light in My Eyes. And I was like, do you have an idea for it? And she was like, I think so. And I was like, okay. that would be fun then. And then we get on a call, like, when it's the next morning for me. And she's like, Hawk, I didn't finish it. Can I finish it while we're talking? And I was like, yeah, that's fine. You can wait a little longer for Secret Life because Your Light in My Eyes was amazing. Aw, yeah. Yeah, it's just a little bit longer. It's done now, so that was a real last minute. It was literally last minute. It's like the last. Oh my gosh, we got on a call at like 7:30 for me, and the chapter didn't get posted until like 10. But that's because we got distracted too. That was also. Oh yeah, and then while we were doing that, Katie wrote like the summary out and the notes, and then she posted it, and it all got deleted. So we had to rewrite it. We had to rewrite the entire summary and the notes again, because when she posted it, it deleted itself. So that was fun. It was a sad moment. I could hear Katie's voice deflate. The summary was so good. We got it back though. Like, it's basically what it was before. We literally did. We spent a whole hour, like, writing out the summary and making it work and, like, flow nice and, you know, make sense and everything. And then she was, like, writing the notes, and the notes were long, and then all of that. And we spent, like, an hour figuring it all out and making it perfect. And then she presses post, and it deletes itself. It was so disheartening. Okay. Not me getting distracted. I also love, one thing that I liked is that there were some red names at the end of Limited Life that weren't like super affected by you gotta bounce, but you sent a little progress update on the potential thumbnail shot. Ooh. Yeah, that's what the distraction was. I was like, what is this? Well, I hope you have a good rest of your day, Katie. Thank you for stopping by and hanging out with us. I'm just gonna continue rambling. So what I was saying is, one thing that I loved is that there were some red names. Thank you, we will. Talk to you tomorrow. There were some red names at the end of Limited Life that weren't as affected by the Bloodlust. I thought that was interesting. Because it was Scott and Etho and Impulse. And for Scott and Impulse and Tango, I think it was along the lines of like they were the last to turn red. I feel like there was some stuff with Etho. Etho's a very, like, he's an enigma. Like, Etho's, you know, a very interesting character. And I won't go too into detail about him. And we probably won't on the wrap-up stream either. Because I like him being an enigma. You like that too? Yeah. It was nice because if it hadn't been that way, it would have kind of been difficult for Tango, right? It would have been difficult for Tango because he's like fighting the entire server by himself. So like some of his allies had to still be there. And so that helped. And then the whole Skiz thing, just like, oh, that broke my heart. So one thing I wanted to talk about is when Katie was originally, and this stream is, yeah, this stream has some like additional info that you wouldn't get for like another month, when we do the wrap up stream. So at this point, yeah, there are some major like background spoilers, like, you know. But one thing that Katie and I were talking about is originally she was going to have, yes, and Tango learn he needs friends. Exactly. He learns he can't do it by himself. One thing, so basically, when Katie was first writing it, she wanted to write Skiz sacrificing himself. Like, straight up giving his time to Tango. And I was like, my thought for this experiment, though, was that this test, or whatever you want to call it, the simulation, my thought for this was that as soon as one of them ran out of time, the Watchers were going to kill them. Like, outside the simulation. So when we were talking about that, I was like, Skiz can't sacrifice himself, because if he did, then he would die in the real world too. And I didn't want any of them to die. And Katie didn't either. 24 hours to live. Yeah, exactly. So that's why it turned into Skiz leading Tango. Like, that's why it turned into, like, Tango refusing to sacrifice Skiz, and into Skiz leading Tango through a meditation. And having, like, 3 minutes left before running out of time, right? So I thought honestly having him have 3 minutes left was more heart-wrenching, and having it look like the end of, like, a terminal illness was way more heart-wrenching than having him sacrifice himself straight up. Yeah, and you love that 3-minute tension. Exactly. Like, that made it so much more like, I have to get out of here right now kind of deal. And then Tango getting down and Impulse begging him to help him get up there because he needs to be with Skiz. And all of that is like, it made it so much more dramatic, because it's like, I have to get out of here before Skiz dies, you know, like that kind of deal. Because I feel like it's a fair thought for the players to have had, that, like, if we die here, they're just gonna kill us, because, like, none of us are getting out of here alive, right? Like, they are all fully aware of that. They pissed off the Watchers way too much to get out of there alive. Especially with the thought of Jimmy already being dead. One thing that I really liked was there were some theories in the comments of some of Katie's stories that, like, Tango had a piece of the Avatar spirit inside of him. And some people were theorizing that when he got out, he was going to continue having some of the Avatar powers. And I thought that was really interesting. And it's an interesting idea, but I ended up having it be more along the lines of, like, it's more of an emotional bond. Like, Tango knows what it feels like to be the Avatar now, and so he's able to relate to what Jimmy has gone through, which is why I loved those moments where he's like the callbacks, you know, like the callbacks to things that happened previously. Like when there's like a slow moment and Tango thinks about how this is, you know, what Jimmy went through. Oh, one thing that I loved, because it's so hypocritical, is when they're having the conversation, like, in the spirit world, like that, like the in-between world kind of deal, when they're astral projecting or whatever you want to call it. That moment where Tango's thinking, like, maybe I should tell Jimmy that I'm the Avatar right now. And he's like, no, Jimmy has enough going on right now. I can't add to it. I'm like, bro, this is literally what happened in Double Life. Like, the exact thing. I just don't want to put it on him. Like, it's so funny. Because that's, like, exactly what Jimmy was doing all through Double Life, was like, I don't want to add to Tango's stress. I don't want to add to it until I know what's going on. And it's like, the parallels between them. Yeah, that was kind of intentional. Katie did that, and Katie kind of did that intentionally. We talked about it a little bit. There were also moments, like, in the first chapter when they're or I think it was in the first chapter, it might have been the second, they're around the campfire, like the ties are around the campfire, and Tango's thinking back to like the first night of Double Life when he and Jimmy are sitting around the campfire. There was a lot of that with like Katie and I were talking about how to make callbacks to Double Life. It was so good. And with chapter 19 was like very action heavy. And I enjoyed chapter 19. One thing that makes me sad about the way that I write is that, or the way I like process my writing. Oh, your internet is gone. You're close to home. Okay. All right. Oh well. We'll see. We'll see you back here soon, Nini, when you have internet again. One thing that makes me sad about my writing and like how I think about my writing is when I first write something, I'm like, oh yeah, this is great. I love this. And then like time passes and I've written more, and it's literally not been that long. Like it's been half a year or so since I finished Your Embers at my fingertips. And as I'm editing these chapters, I'm like, ugh, this is awful. This is the worst writing I've ever read. And I'm like, why do I do this to myself? It's not that bad. And I don't know if that's just me or if a lot of writers are that way, or just people in general, but I just have such a hard time enjoying my writing after a significant amount of time has passed. I wish it wasn't that way, because I don't think my writing is bad, and clearly people enjoy the fan fiction, which I'm extremely happy about. I'm very grateful that people have enjoyed the fan fiction as much as you guys have, because it's been wonderful like reading your comments and getting to stream and talk with you and write these one-shots and, you know, have people enjoy them. That's made my day every time I do this, because it makes me feel good that people enjoy my writing. But I don't know why Nightbot does this sometimes, where it's just like glitching. I don't know why it's doing that, but we're ignoring it. It's one of my character flaws. Yeah. Gotta hydrate. Gotta drink some water. If you have water, go drink some water. Oh, goodness. We have about an hour left. There's so much that I have to say about this fan fiction. There's so many things I could say for it. Oh. Soon that Nightbot message will not include his being updated every Saturday. Oh my goodness. I do have a thought. I'm probably going to continue writing one-shots for the fan fiction until people lose interest in it. When we get to the point where people aren't enjoying the one-shots anymore, I'll probably pivot to writing one-shots for something else. Probably still fan fiction related. More one-shots, yeah. I'll probably finish this one off stream and post it like probably tomorrow, because I want to write today. I just don't want to write like something big. So I'll probably write this. But my plan is to still stream writing one-shots. The timer is ticking down, just not literally anymore. Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, it's absolutely insane that we're almost done with it. Like, it's crazy. And then, so it's kind of looking like Katie and I haven't decided on a day yet, but it looks like we're gonna be doing the wrap up stream a couple weeks after Your Embers at My Fingertips is done. So in like roughly a month. I'm not saying for certain. We're talking about it tomorrow, so we'll probably have a more clear date by then. But we are, so you want to know the end, but you don't want it to end? Yeah. I will say I am not planning another fan fiction book at this time because I'm working on something else. It's big. It's a big thing. I want to say it's a big thing. It's very good. I'm very happy with it. But it's not a fan fiction. I want to focus more on my own personal projects, like, and obviously I'll talk about that more once Your Embers at My Fingertips is over. But anyway, so what I was saying, my thought is the week after, like that Saturday after Your Embers at My Fingertips is done, so in 3 weeks, I'm going to post a one-shot on Saturday for the future. So like something that happens after the final chapter. You're hyped to find out what it's about. Yeah, I'm very excited to start being able to talk about it. It is going to be revealed at the end of the wrap-up stream, which if you don't catch, Katie and I are both posting the VOD to our YouTube channels. It's probably going to be like the only video on mine because I don't really... Well, question for the people that are in chat. Would you be interested in me posting my streams, like my VODs, on YouTube? Would that be something you're interested in? So like if you miss them, you can still watch them? I wouldn't want to do it if nobody is interested in it. Yeah? Okay, I can do that. I haven't been doing it because I was like, I don't know if anybody's going to watch these, but if you're interested in me doing that, then I can definitely start posting my VODs. This one, well, so Katie said earlier that I can post VODs from Twitch. So this one might be on YouTube. And I'll add my YouTube to my link tree after I do that. So if you follow me on Instagram, my link tree is in my bio. It might also be in my bio on Twitch as well. And so you can find my YouTube from there. It's Hawkwing03. It's the same thing as my other socials. But I could start posting VODs there starting today. No, unless you're doing a retrospective. That's fair. I might just start doing it just because I don't know. Why not? Yeah. I haven't been doing it because I didn't know if anybody would be interested, but if people are interested, then I can do it. Sounds like T-Dubs might be interested. I love your username, by the way. I lost my train of thought. But yeah, what I was saying. What I was saying before that was I have written a couple one-shots for after, like stuff that happens after. What was the YouTube channel name? It is, I believe it is the same as my Twitch name and my AO3 name. It's the same one, Hawkwing03. It should have the same profile picture as Instagram. It'll be nice to have on in the background if you miss it live. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I might as well. I'll start posting the VODs on YouTube just for people who miss it and want to enjoy the writing. My plan is to start streaming regularly again, like Mondays and Saturdays, because those are just the easiest days for me. At about the same time. It's either 10 or 11 a.m. CST, Central Standard Time. I missed this past Saturday because I was recovering from neurological testing. But I'm feeling better now, so that's good. But yeah, I've written, I believe, 2 one-shots for after what happens, like for stuff that happens after the final chapter. YouTube doesn't want to show. Okay, actually, well, let me quickly. I will find my YouTube account for you and then post it. Oh gosh, there's some old streams on here. There's some old stuff. Let me do this. There you go. There's some real old stuff. Well, you can enjoy 2 years old videos on there if you would like. Goodness. That's okay. You are welcome, Nini. I do have to check about one of the one-shots that I've written because it was Katie's Christmas present, so I need to check and make sure that she's fine with me posting that. But I know there is one for certain that I'll probably post. That's probably the one I'll post the week after Your Embers at My Fingertips comes out. So you'll have something to read that Saturday. It'll just be posted not with the fan fiction. It'll be posted in the series. So like where I post all of these. Okay, that makes it the 147th channel you're subscribed to. I'm honored to be that number. But so basically all of the one-shots that I write go into the Your Embers at My Fingertips series on my account. So, you know, you can do that. You also started thinking about what will the characters do after everything, like a year later or so. Yeah, I do. Okay, so here's my current plan for what I'm going to do with that idea. I don't want to write a sequel at this point in time. I don't have the intention of writing an actual sequel. My thought is I'll be doing the same basic thing like with these one-shots to do kind of like on stream and then post, is where I get a prompt for something that either happens before, during, or after, because once the entire thing is done, I can do any one-shot from any time. And then that can be from a random point in time, and all of those will be canon, so you'll get like details about what the characters do during that time. However, if you have thoughts for what the characters do after everything is over, that is entirely fine, and I would love for you to share those with me. When you have those thoughts, feel free to comment them or post them or DM me with them. Like, I absolutely would love to hear your thoughts about what they do. I'm just not planning on writing an actual story for it at this point. I can share my thoughts for what they do, but if you have thoughts, that is wonderful, and I love that. So at any point, if you have thoughts that you wish to share with me, I would absolutely love to hear them. But I will not. I am being very good and not spoiling what happens in the last 2 chapters. I'm not saying anything. That's not for this stream. That's for the stream in like 3 weeks. We gotta get through the last 2 chapters first. I am very excited for these last 2 chapters. I think you guys are really gonna like them. I think you're gonna like them. There is one thing I have to fix for this chapter that's coming out on Saturday, this upcoming Saturday. There's still one thing I have to fix to make it perfect, but I've got the next like 4 days, like 3 or 4 days. How many days do I have? I could do it today. No, I can't do it today. I probably can't do it tomorrow. I've got like Wednesday to Friday to fix it, essentially, unless I have energy to do it before that. But I'm going to make it. I want to make this chapter perfect for you guys. So I'm going to fix that. But I think you guys are really going to like this chapter. And then the final chapter as well. And then that Saturday after, we get to kind of like talk about it a little bit. And then the wrap-up stream is like talking about everything. And I can't wait. I can't wait to do that, guys. Like, you have no idea how excited I am for that. And again, okay, so if you guys... Wait, hold on. You also had ideas about Scott and Pearl. What would they do? Not story-wise. Really? Oh, lore ideas? Yeah. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? By the way, guys, if you have like questions or comments that you want like answered or discussed on that wrap-up stream, please let me know. I would like to try to compile a list of stuff to kind of like talk about. And since Katie and I are sort of planning out that stream, like the talking points tomorrow, hearing them today would help me a lot. So if you have stuff that you would like us to go over on that wrap-up stream, please let me know. And then after these last 2 chapters, as they're coming out, if you have the stuff you want us to discuss, like go over, leave those comments on those chapters so that I can add them to the list. I'm going to be leaving stuff in the bottom notes too, so if you forget, that's fine. But I'm just trying to like gather everything together so that we're getting all that set up. Oh my gosh, it's so crazy. It's so crazy, guys. It's been such a fun ride, like genuinely. And I'm so glad that people have enjoyed it. And that we've kind of sort of grown just like a little community from it. It's a little community, but we're getting there, and I hope you guys will stick around for the ride with like my next project. And all the stuff that comes after, because I've got big plans, guys. I've got big plans, and it's gonna be so much fun when it's done. It's gonna be so much fun. I genuinely think you guys are gonna like this next project like way more than the fan fiction. I'm so proud of it. So, you know, if you guys stick around for it, I think you'll really like it. One thing that I enjoyed with the fan fiction, especially like the compound chapters, was the fight scenes. Like, I know they're not the best fight scenes in the world, but they opened the door for me to start writing fight scenes. Because I had never written like actual fight scenes before I started this fan fiction. I had been so afraid of them. I was like, I can't do this well. I can't do this properly. Like, it doesn't work. I'm so bad at it. And then I was like, with this fan fiction, I had to write fight scenes, and I started feeling more comfortable with it. And yeah, they're not the best, but they opened the door for me to be able to do that. And I'm really proud of myself for taking that jump. Okay, so Scott coming to Pearl's house, and everyone in the village warns him to go there, but he goes and has invitation from Jimmy and Tango because they want to celebrate Jimmy finishing firebending, and Tango got his invention to work. And Scott asks Pearl why she went back to this house, and Pearl's like, where else should she go? And then Scott tells her that he wants to stay in the Fire Nation for a while. Cleo found a flat for the two of them, and that flat is too big for just two. Oh, I see where this is going. Oh, that's so cute. That's so cute. I like that. You have to write things to improve writing them. Exactly. If you don't take that leap and you don't like jump in and actually start writing, then like you're never going to improve. You're never going to be able to figure out how to do things. And I'm so much prouder of how I've been writing fight scenes recently. Like I wrote a fight scene yesterday and I'm so happy with it. I think it came out so well. And maybe that's just because I just wrote it yesterday, but I feel like I'm getting better with them, and that's all you can hope for, is that you get better with them. But if you don't start writing, then you're never gonna get better. I think it's the same with anything. It's scary to start doing something because you're like, oh, I'm not gonna be good at this. Like, yeah, no, you're not gonna be good at it, but you have to actually do it to improve. Because of me and Katie, you actually started writing again after years. Aww. I'm so glad we got to do that for you, because writing is like my favorite thing. I ended up not writing for like two or 3 years. And then, it was so funny. It was my Oma that got me back into writing, which is why my first book, Connected, is dedicated to her. And you want to know why I started writing? I literally started writing again because of the Life series. Yeah, I started writing because of the Life series. You enjoyed it so much while you were in school, but then you had to learn so much and you had no time. Yeah, I totally get that. I understand that completely. My story with getting back into writing is, so I'm disabled, and it all comes full circle. Yeah, literally. And how you wrote that amazing fanfiction. Yeah. I'm disabled, and I was like coming to terms with that, and I was really like struggling with it, as you do when you realize that you're disabled. And I had just started getting into Scott's third life, because I had watched Scott like years before with other content, and I just got back, like I was just getting into Minecraft for the first time, and I was like, oh, Third Life, I don't know what this is, and I want to watch more of Scott. So I started watching Scott's Third Life, and then I started watching Jimmy's Third Life because they were allies, and then I started like growing that, and I really liked Jimmy and Scott, and so I started watching their other content with Empires. So I watched their season 1 Empires, and I really liked the Flower Husbands and their dynamic, and so so I wrote the Connected fanfiction, which I am now completely embarrassed about, but it got me back into writing, and that's why it hasn't been deleted. Question: what counts as a bender, and what elements can the characters control? How does the world's physics differ from the Avatar franchise? So, well, in this world, it's the same world as Avatar: The Last Airbender. So the bender is like within the rules. Like a bender is within the rules of Atla. It's very similar. I haven't, to be honest, because the entire fan fiction was done underground or in a simulation. I haven't gone too into detail with the thought of like the world building. That'll be more of a thing as I start writing more one-shots outside, like after everything. because they're not in the compound anymore. So that'll be more of something that we all discover together while I'm writing that. I'm one of those people that world building itself is actually kind of difficult for me. I tend to figure it out as I'm writing. Like, it's hard for me to completely plan things out before I start writing something. So we just kind of figure it out together. But it's basically the same thing. And on the wrap-up stream, I'll explain why. I'll explain why it's very much within the world of Atla. But I have thoughts. And I'll be able to answer that question better on the wrap-up stream. Yeah, I mean, there was a time where, like, you know what's really funny? There was a time where I would only write romance, and now I can't write romance. It's so funny. But, I mean, tastes change. Yeah. Your first life series videos was actually also Scott, but Double Life. You started watching that group. You think when they started Limited Life, you found Scott's Empires and watched the whole first season. And while waiting on a new Empire Season 2 video, you found Double Life. That's interesting. I found the Life series like a month after Last Life ended. It was like end of November, or like I think it was early to mid-December of what was 2 years ago. No, it was 3 years ago. 2021. That's when I found Third Life. I started watching Third Life first, because that's what was recommended to me. And I just started like growing, You're so happy you started watching English YouTubers? Like British or like English speaking? I ended up like English speaking. Oh yeah. I only watch English speaking YouTubers because I am a native English speaker, but I'm learning German. And I am starting to be able to form sentences a little bit. And sometimes I freak Katie out by randomly sending her German messages. German, really? Yeah. Oh no, I am not ready to speak German. Not yet. But when I am able to properly form a sentence, I will one day speak a sentence on stream. But not for a while. I'm still very much a beginner. I am just finishing the first section of, like, the first unit of Duolingo German. But one day you will hear my German. But my goal one day is to move to Germany for a variety of reasons. And my dad was learning German, and I wanted to learn a foreign language, so I started doing Duolingo doing Duolingo with him. It's been fun. I wish that the American school system was better at teaching students languages. It's very bad. We don't start learning any foreign language until we're like in high school, which is when we're like 14. So at that point, it's a lot harder to actually learn them. This is we got very off topic. Yeah, it's very, like, the American school system is not the best, I'll be honest. You learn English in 3rd grade. Wow. What is if you don't mind me asking, what is your native language? I'm curious. If you're not comfortable saying, then that's totally fair. German. Oh, interesting. Then that's embarrassing for me if I ever spoke German, because I'm not gonna do it correctly. That's why we're waiting. Yeah, I wish I had learned a language sooner. I really do. But that's why I'm learning now. It's just a little harder to do it. But I do a little bit of German every day. I mean, it's nice because Duolingo like thoroughly punishes you if you don't do it every day. Like, they take away your streak, and I have like 400 days, and so I'd be very sad if I lost my streak. So it gives me an incentive to do it every day, which is nice. But yeah, someday I will move to Germany. But we got very off topic. This stream was to talk about the fan fiction. Now we're talking about German. I'm excited to talk, like, after the fan fiction is over, I'm excited to talk more about what happens to all the characters. Like, what, all of that. Yeah, back on track. Let's get back on track. Because I think I am curious if anybody here has ideas for what happens to the characters after the story is over. Like, obviously it's not over yet, so you can't say, like, for certain what your thoughts are, because they're probably bound to change based on what happens in the next 2 chapters. But I am curious, like, do you think anybody is going to end up, like, grouping together? Because, there are some... Obviously, I can't say because the story's not over and I don't want to spoil it for you. But, based on, like, the alliances that have happened and how close some groups are... Because I know what groupings I think would make sense to end up going into the world together. Ren and Martin, maybe. Yeah, that's like, because there are some groups, there are some groupings that are like consistent throughout every experiment, like every simulation. Like Ren and Martin with Dogwarts, and then the Shadow Alliance, and then the Heartbroken, what were they called? The Heartbreaking? Something like that in Double Life. So like Ren and Martin would definitely make sense. Obviously, we're all thinking Jimmy and Tango, right? We're all thinking Jimmy and Tango. It'd be crazy if they didn't end up, going off into the sunset, right? That'd be crazy. They both said it just not to each other. That is true. They literally both... You know what? I'm pretty sure Katie had that line of thought specifically because there was Jimmy having that line of thought. I'm pretty sure that's exactly the reason she put that in there, is because Jimmy was like, oh, I don't know if Tango's going to want to go off into the sunset with me. And so then Tango had to be like, oh, I don't know if Jimmy's gonna want to go off into the sunset with me. Like, you are both stupid. Yeah, it would. I feel like it's already 100% determined that they're gonna end up traveling around together. The question is, what happens like now that they've been taken to the to the listener's base? I almost said something that I shouldn't have. That's okay. We do that every stream, guys. Every stream, Hawk says something they almost says something they shouldn't. And that's fine. It's fine. Anyway. To the what? No, you didn't hear anything. What are you talking about, Nini? It's fine. Honestly, after Katie posted a chapter every day for 2 weeks, I feel bad that you guys are having to wait another 5 days for chapter 20. I actually feel bad about it. But I can't change it now. Like, you know, it feels even longer for me too. Genuinely, like it's been 2 days and I already feel like I should have posted chapter 20. But it'll be okay because I'm gonna finish this one shot. Like, obviously we're not finishing it on stream today. I'm gonna try to finish this one shot today. And try to have it up tomorrow. I make no promises, but I want to do some writing today, and I don't really have like the ability to sit at my desk for very long. What is it about? This is the one shot where like right after people were like disconnecting. So we've got like the beginning. It was the one we started writing last Monday, Nini, if you remember. It's the one where like right after Jimmy and Tango die and then disconnect, and then Martin disconnects, and then Green does. So we got all of that, and we ended up with the realization that people are now randomly being soulbound to each other. So I will try to finish this one later today and edit it and then have it up for you guys around the usual time tomorrow. So you have something to read in between. You'll have something in the middle of the week to read before, you know. You're still interested in where the different people are coming from? The different people. What I don't know what you mean. I'm sorry. Yeah, I probably won't stream again. Like, oh, okay, now I know what you mean. Okay, Scott is from the South Pole and Tango. Scott is from the North Pole, actually. Scott's from the North Pole, and yeah, Tango is from the Fire Nation capital. Yeah, I actually have... Do I have that written down? Out of curiosity. I don't know if I actually have that written down. I should write that down. I have that written down for the other thing. I've gotten better at keeping notes. This was before I got good at keeping notes. But I think before the wrap-up stream, I'll probably write all of that down in case people are curious. Yeah. Yeah, Scott's from the North Pole. Yeah, all the Firebenders are from the Fire Nation. Jimmy, Joel, and Lizzie live in like one of the rural, like smaller towns. Yeah, they're in one of the smaller towns in the Fire Nation. I'll write all that out so I have that written down, because that is something that I should know. And I don't know it because I haven't needed to know it yet. Now I need to know it. It's, you know, the story was a lot of fun. Yeah. My thought is I'll try to keep up the schedule of streaming on Mondays and Saturdays. Obviously, if there are some Mondays and Saturdays that don't work, like this past Saturday, then I won't be streaming. But those 2 days seem to be the best for me. And so, like, even after Your Embers at My Fingertips is over, I will still try to stream those days and do, like, some writing for, you know, one-shots, whether they be for this or, like, for these, or, you know, eventually when interest kind of starts waning on this project, then maybe we transition to something else. But for now, I'm hoping there will still be interest in this story, and we can continue writing one-shots for these, including one-shots for the after, which is kind of what I'm calling it. The one-shots that happen after the story is over, I'm calling the after. And so we'll probably be doing more of those in the coming weeks, after the story has concluded. And just so everyone here is aware, there will be a date finalized for the wrap-up stream before I post the final chapter of Your Embers at My Fingertips. So within that final chapter, within the notes, the bottom notes for that, there will be a set time and day for that stream. Katie will be streaming. I will be streaming. We'll both have our chats up. We'll both be answering questions. We'll both be talking. We'll be going through as much as possible. I don't know how long that stream's going to go. Longer than my streams. Because you guys know I keep my streams to around 2 hours. But I will be going, like, we'll both be going longer than that to talk about things, but I can't make any promises for how long. I have no idea, but it'll probably be longer. And we'll go through everything, and then both of those will be uploaded. And obviously after today, I will start uploading my VODs to YouTube. And for the one-shots, if you go to my Instagram and follow me there, I tend to do polls about 24 hours before I stream, to decide what one-shot I stream on Twitch. So if you want to be part of that, you'll need to follow my Instagram. You also have a question about the bending swap twist. They also swapped the skills shown by Scott and Pearl. So Pearl knows how to heal, but still could not do it because Scott could not. So could they only use the techniques their soulmates already could do and not improve over that? Yeah, so essentially what it was is they kind of swapped everything. So Scott could heal and bloodbend, and Pearl could icebend, but couldn't bloodbend or heal. And that was kind of it for like the techniques, because Joel wasn't in limited life, so we didn't see any like metal bending or anything like that. But yeah, so all of the soulmates swapped bending and techniques. And Katie and I also talked about Katie and I also talked about what it would be like if we were in that situation, because she would be a lava bender and I would be a healer. So So we were joking about how so I would be a lava bender. I would be going around playing a fun British game with everybody. I'd just be turning the land under them into lava, and she would have to go around like healing me and other people because I would just be super chaotic. It would be great. Honestly, it would be kind of fun to write one-shots for that at some point. I don't know if I will, but yes, the British game, yeah. The fun British game. Even though I'm not British. You know, people can participate in the fun British game without being British. I think that's fair. There are a lot of things that she and I were talking about for like if we were in this fan fiction. And yeah, so obviously we would have ended up being soulmates in Double Life, but we wouldn't have been allies in any other like thing before that. I can't remember. I think she said that she would have been part of the Scottage in Last Life, and I would have been with the Southlands, because I think I would have had fun in that group. And then I would have been with Dogwarts in Third Life, and she would have been with not the Clockers, the Crassel. So we would have been like on opposite sides a lot. We never would have been allies. And then we're like paired up in Double Life, but obviously we don't have our memories. So the past, games don't matter. And then I'm very big on like loyalty. And so we had the idea of like B-Dubs and Impulse would have like come to me and been like, oh, Katie is cheating on you with Martin, and I would have been like, I don't believe you. But then I would have seen like Martin talking to Katie, and I would have gotten really upset about that and yeeted myself off a cliff to punish her. Yeah, it would have been a thing. You could see yourself with the Clockers in Limited Life. I would have been with the good guys. I would have been with Lizzie and Mumbo. I think I would be very chaotic. I would have been very chaotic as a person in these games. But I definitely would have been with Lizzie and Mumbo, I think. And Katie just kind of like follows Pearl everywhere. So Katie would have been with the nosy neighbors. Will this include Woven Life members? I will be honest, I've seen stuff for Woven Life, but I don't know what it is. You would have been chaotic or too nice. Yeah, I would have been two like opposite ends of the spectrum. I would have either been very chaotic or extremely nice to people. I think in Double Life, I think in any game, I would have been like, tried to be friends with everybody, but then eventually just end up being really chaotic. Like when it came down to it, I would just be extremely chaotic. I think Woven Life is like one of the fan Life series SMPs, right? But I genuinely have no idea. I'm just assuming. But if anybody wants to theorize where they, talk about where they would be in this fan fiction, then you are perfectly welcome to, and I'd love to hear about it. Yeah. Okay. That's why I thought I I basically tend to watch only certain people. Like I really only watch Hermitcraft, Empires, and Life Series people. Those are the only people I watch on YouTube, except for like people, you know, like other Markiplier. I watch Markiplier. Watch Markiplier and those specific Minecraft people, and that's it. You know, Scars Crystals, you would have bought one of each kind. That's who I have. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I saw a screenshot. I was watching one of Etho's last life videos, and I saw that Scar misspelled one of the crystals, and it absolutely broke me. He accidentally spelled it like it was like the creeper, like the cat creeper like repellent or something, and he spelled it crepper, and I absolutely lost my mind. Like here, let me he spelled it that way, and I should have done this on screen. Hold on. There we go. He spelled it like that, and I absolutely lost my mind. I was dying for like 5 minutes. It killed me. Yeah. I still have the screenshot saved in my phone, but I don't know where it is. I don't know where it would be in my camera roll, but yeah, it absolutely killed me. I will say, we're almost at 2 hours, and I have started having an optic migraine, so I can't really see anymore. So I'm gonna go ahead, if I can do this, I am gonna go ahead and wrap up this stream. But this was so much fun. We ended up not really writing anything at all, but that's okay. We had a lot of fun talking. Thank everybody for coming. It was a lot of fun. This VOD will be posted on my YouTube either later or tomorrow at some point. So if anybody wants to rewatch it or see stuff that they missed, you're perfectly welcome to. And this one shot will hopefully be done and posted soon. But thank you guys for coming. It was so much fun, and I'll see you later. Bye.